Well, Richard Hubbard joins us, the new CEO of Crogga, and the news that's literally come out today is that drilling is going to start. You've got dates, it looks like, in the diary, and you've got the rig and all that sort of thing. This is just off what Maughold. It's going to be when exactly next year, is it?
Okay, so the new news is that we're going to be drilling the first well in Isle of Man waters. So this is great. There have been some wells drilled many years ago when it was part of the so-called UK continental shelf. But now we're drilling it under the jurisdiction and for the benefit of the Isle of Man.
You're picking up from BP, aren't you?
Yeah.
They've done the work, some of the work anyway.
Yeah.
And from that, you're deducing there is gas there. It seems to me the way you're looking at the press release, even you're saying you're not quite sure if it's doable still, because there's so many things to take into. Take us through what you think
well,
is
just to
happen.
go back with a little bit of history.
Yeah.
So you may have seen there that in years gone by, I was fortunate enough to serve as the worldwide chief geologist of BP, which was quite an honour because I had to look at everywhere. And one of the places that we relinquished, relinquished is the word, was the Isle of Man. So I relinquished this acreage on behalf of BP back in the 1990s.
Because gas wasn't worth much,
that's right. So it wasn't because there's no gas there. And indeed, speaking as BP, we did some quite sophisticated technical work, and it's there. The gas is there. But at the time, it wasn't commercial for BP, and although it's quite substantial in size, it wasn't what BP was looking for. They wanted to find something the size of Morecambe Bay or more. And it's not that, but it is a really nice size of gas field. And so now, under Isle of Man jurisdiction, we've got the chance to drill it and find out if it's commercial.
Now that is a risk in itself. You're taking that on, aren't you?
Yes.
Yourself. So it's there, but it may not be usable. It may be there, come gushing out. I mean, that's
exactly.
You're playing high rolling stakes here, I think.
You do. So I have to be really clear with everybody that yes, we are 100% sure the gas is there, but we don't know it will flow at commercial rates until we drill the well.
And this next year, you've got it coming in.
Yeah.
How long? What's impact-wise?
So what we have now our plan in place, and the board has agreed that we're going ahead to drilling. So that's all in position. Now what we have to do, it always takes a year to prepare to drill a well. That's kind of normal wherever you are. And we would be looking to contract the rig probably in January. So as of today, we've not contracted it, but we can and we will. And we'll have to bring that rig round from the North Sea.
And it's 90 miles out there or somewhere? So it's quite a way out, but it still have an impact, will it, on people?
Okay, so where is it precisely? So clearly it's in Isle of Man waters, which means it's inside the 12 mile.
12, of course, yeah.
And then we tend to use kilometres just to be complicated.
Right.
But the well location is 17 kilometres offshore.
So it's fairly
quite a long way.
Okay.
So
impact-wise, will it be? Because
visually, it will look like a ship or a ferry or something. So it's quite a long way to see it.
So at this stage, there will be no more infrastructure because this is just the drilling of the stage.
Yes. Tina and I have just been down to Weston-super-Mare for my birthday, and you won't believe this, but they've got an oil rig there that they've beached as a tourist attraction. So if anybody happens to be going to Weston-super-Mare, it's the same size as the rig that they've got there.
Okay, let's go through the timetable here.
Yeah.
So let's supposing everything goes to time, you get it in.
Yeah.
How long before you'll know? And then obviously if it is there, how long before gas starts being pulled
good.
out?
So we're hoping the word we use is to spud, meaning to start, like drilling a hole for a potato, but that's the word the oil industry uses. So we're going to spud this well in the fourth quarter of 2023. So a year from now.
Yeah.
A year from now. And then it'll take about 3 months to drill. And then we have to make our measurements. We run the electric logs to look at the rock properties, and we core it. So we've physically got a piece of the gas reservoir rock that we can look at on the surface. And then we run a short production test to make sure it flows at a commercial rate. And if that's positive, then that's when we get excited and we'll really go for it. And what we would then need to do is to drill a sequence of wells, but in conjunction with shooting a 3D seismic survey so we know the full extent of the field. And if that development goes through to its full field development, as we call it, it would probably take something like 12 wells. And I'm not sure we'll have those all drilled, but we're aiming for first commercial production by 2026. And that's quite fast on a sort of global average
Well, the
basis.
thing is, this is a fast thing only because we're moving off gas. I mean, and we can go through all the things. I've done it in the other interviews, but just touching on the main ones is, we've got the biosphere and UNESCO and all these things, and then we're doing something which seems quite crazy for them.
Yes. And I understand that wholly. I truly do, because I thought my next project would be a green energy one. So I'm on board completely with the transition, but it is a process. It's not something you can just flick a switch and do. And of course, we've seen the horrible ramification of everything to do with the Ukraine invasion and Putin and the price shock that followed it for everybody else trying to pay for their natural gas. So we have to just kind of be realistic about this. The world is still quite dependent on fossil fuel. And
being frank about this, it's only because of where we are.
Yeah.
This is really, really now attractive. I mean, it was okay, but now it's really attractive.
And that's right.
But what happens if the world order gets back to normal? Will you just have to pull out of this whole thing?
No, I think it will be commercial, but it wouldn't. It's a commercial development. So if you look around the world, both in terms of the attractiveness, prospectivity as we call it, and the cost that goes with it, to have a new gas field in 14 metres of water, which is very shallow, close to shore, is very attractive.
To some. I mean, I'm sorry, this is what...
From the industry point of
Yes.
view. Okay, but so what I'm saying is that even if you were to reduce the gas price, this one would still be commercial.
And you've got the sweetener in to make the Isle of Man have a very nice
Most
sort of rate.
definitely. So Crogga, the board of Crogga has committed to sell all the natural gas that the island requires, capped at a price of 80 pence per therm. I know they're rather strange units, but when the price spiked a few months ago, it went to 10 times that. It went up to £8 per therm.
But what was it before all this started? It was pennies, wasn't it? 30p or 40p?
It was when BP drilled the well, but it's been 50p, a pound.
So 80p sounds a good deal then, is it?
A good price.
And you're happy to
Yes. Well, we want to do that. We want to offer that to the Isle of Man.
Where are you with the wind turbines? Because I didn't see much mention about that in today's press release, but you have been committed in the past to saying you're going to do wind turbines.
We fully support the transition of the island towards a zero carbon economy, green energy based. So anything that we can do to help and support that, we shall do. And the clear winner...
So you're not now saying you're going to do one, or you're just thinking about it?
Okay, speaking for Crogga's point of view, we are not a developer of wind farms. There are certain companies that do that. So if we were to dive in as the main operator, I mean, we can't do that. We're not yet experienced or qualified. But we would invest in it, and we would support the operation, and with time we might become the operator. But again, it's a process. If I just said to you today, we're going to build a massive wind farm, we're not in a position yet as a company to do it. But it doesn't mean that we're not supportive of that happening.
And back to the gas, what sort of impact? That's what it all goes, well, you find the gas. How many pipes are going to be coming out, and how much infrastructure is going to be off Maughold or on Maughold's, on the beach almost? I mean,
very little is the answer. So this field sits in an existing producing province. It's called the East Irish Sea for obvious reasons. And obviously the big field there is Morecambe Bay. So there has been gas production since the 1980s, 40 years of gas production. And there are platforms that everybody sees when they come over on the ferry. But we've kind of moved on now, and we believe that the 12 wells that I described that would be necessary to drain this reservoir can all be what is referred to as a subsea completion. So the well manifold and the well head is on the seabed and not visible from above.
But some impact on land, right? I mean, you send the gas here, you're not going to send it off to Morecambe,
Well, we have options. Yes, we can obviously bring the gas. Well, we can.
What do you want to do
here?
What's your plan?
Let's wait and see how much gas there is and what we really want to do. So I'm not saying yes or no to anything. Clearly, we will tie the pipeline from the field to a shore facility, and that can be the existing facilities through the UK production fields, or it can be to a new processing plant here on the Isle of Man.
Do you have to tie up with Isle of Man Energy, which was Manx Gas? Do you have to work with them because that has to go through their pipes?
Well, we will work with onshore.
Yeah.
Okay, so all oil companies sell their product at the wellhead or at the point of arrival in the processing plant. So we, per se, don't intend to become a downstream distributor or a utility.
So you're not
company.
threatening Isle of Man Energy. You're not going to their.
No. That's not our business.
Right.
Our business is or Crogga's business is to produce natural gas.
And trying to get my head around these things, and I'm sure it's an easy answer. If it does go off to Morecambe, and then it comes back to us via the pipe, how do you work out which is your gas and which is whose gas? And you charge only 80p for it,
It's very simple.
Is it?
It's entirely contractual. So you know how much gas you put into a pipeline, and it's metered, just as it is when it comes into your home.
Right. But it could be anyone's gas. How much you take out is at the price you.
It's a contractual arrangement. It's very simple.
How optimistic, just to finish with, are you on this one? Because there's quite a groundswell of opposition, and it hasn't really probably got motivated yet because you're still in the early days.
Let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little story, if I may. So when Tina and I bought our first house, we've lived around the world. My job sends me overseas, so I don't live there because I'm some sort of traveller in that sense.
And you have Manx connections.
I have Manx connections, but we bought a house in California.
Right.
And I looked at it because clearly it's an earthquake zone. And I said to the real estate agent, well, do you think the foundations to this house are sound? And he looked at me as I was crazy. He said, well, I can't see. And I replied, well, I have to because I'm a geologist. I'm paid to look under the ground. But I do realise my limitations. Mother Nature is always more knowledgeable than the geologist. So I can't tell you as a fact because I don't know. But I believe, on the best of my knowledge, that this is more than worth doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's money involved. You no doubt got
otherwise
there.
I wouldn't be here.
Okay,
so I think there's a field to be developed.
But the opposition to this, because we are meant to be moving completely in a different direction, is going to gather some steam, I think.
Yes.
How are you going to combat that? Are you having public meetings? Are you talking to the commissioners of Garth and that sort of thing? I mean, I'm more than happy to speak with whichever MHKs,
anybody.
Right.
So I'm here to speak to the island's population.
And this is the dash for gas, isn't it? I mean, there's no question about it. In another 10 years, this may be all too late.
It's true. It's absolutely right, Paul. You phrase it well. This is the moment.
Right. Well, if people want more information, I'm sure you have a website or something they can look at.
Yes. Of course, we need to update the website, but we will do that. We've been discussing how best to do it. And I'm fully committed to full public consultation on an ongoing basis. And
I'm sure you'll be telling us that it's going to involve lots of people working here. It's going to make a great difference to the income of the Isle of Man because we'll be sort of
for the Isle of Man to
prices.
own a nice gas field like this is very, very helpful to the GDP. It will increase the island's GDP very significantly. It will bring in a lot of tax revenue. And with the guarantee that Crogga's given of 80 pence per therm, it will provide energy security at a very affordable price.
And you are a commercial company, so you'll be very rich out of this as well.
Well, of course the shareholders hope that. Of course they do.
Yeah.
But it is an opportune investment at this point.
If you're a gambling man, which clearly you have taken a gamble, how much of a risk do you think this is?
Okay, so when you start a football match, you flick a coin, don't you? So I think it's a bit better than that, but it's not a certainty.